What is going on, guys? Tio here. Welcome to another vlog episode. We're just wrapping up our session here at Casino Niagara, and we did pretty good. If you don't already know and you're just kind of like tuning in, I do play live casino poker at a competitive level. So we're just going outside. Unfortunately, guys, I'm not gonna do that much scenic shots because, as you can tell, it's pretty much already nighttime over here. We kind of been grinding, and yeah, we kind of were a little bit late, and it was raining when we came in, so we didn't really get a chance to film the falls or anything like that. I don't know, just didn't feel like getting my equipment wet, or just getting myself wet for that matter. So we're just out here. We're gonna walk to there's a little spot. It's a little park. I don't know. I guess I'm gonna see what it looks like at night, but. You know, we're gonna do the whole like hands, jump right into it, and not really skip a beat. So kind of looks like the Hard Rock no longer has a bar here at night. They kind of have something else going on. I don't know how they switched this up, but check this out. They got like stores over here. So they got like merchandise store. Anyways, guys, I do appreciate you watching this video, and you know, I think by now we might have gotten over 1,000 subs. So again, thank you guys so much. But I don't know. I hope that you guys don't mind that I'm cutting out the scenery. So let's just jump right into the hands, and I'm gonna see you at the park. So see ya.
Excuse us, ladies and gentlemen. 1, 2.
Alright, guys, so we finally made it outside. As you can tell, you know, you can't really tell right now, but it's a little bit chilly, and my hands are starting to get cold. I don't know. I'm gonna kind of see how this goes because it's pretty dark out and my camera might have difficulty focusing, and I got my phone right here. As you can tell, this is like my only light source right now, so I'm reading off my phone, and hopefully this is enough to like brighten up my face. But anyway, let's just go straight into the hands, guys. We start off the session and we look down, and this is our either first hand or our second hand, and we got pocket queens, and we're in middle position 3. It is 9-handed. We're playing 5-10, guys. M1 limps, and it folds around. We decide to go to 45. Cutoff calls pretty quickly. Folds around to a small blind, and he goes to 205. And then the big blind, which is the guy that we have history with. We played before at Woodbine, so we got a little bit of history with him, and I know that he's been pretty snug. He doesn't really get out of line all too much, and then he goes to 525, guys. So it's like our first hand gets back to us, and we just, you know, we gotta snap fold our hand here. Pretty easy decision. Cutoff also folds his hand, and the small blind now decides to complete. So you might think this hand's a little irrelevant, but you're gonna see how it connects to the hand down the road. So we go heads up to the flop. I know we're not in this hand, but it's all diamonds. 9-3-4, and the small blind checks, and now the big blind decides to continue, and he bets about 515, 520, something like that. Don't remember the exact amount, but it's just about 500 bucks. And a small blind just snap folds. And at that point, I go to the guy to my left. It looks like he folded a pair. I told him, I'm like, dude, I folded queens. And he's like, you folded that quick? No way you had queens. I'm like, yeah, I had queens. And then I also asked the guy that went to 205, and he's like, yeah, ace king. And he was like, you know, yeah, he just gives us a nod. So it's good to know that he's putting in a 3-bet with ace king. You know, sometimes when you're playing live, not everybody puts in a 3-bet with ace king. So it's good to know that he's doing it with a hand like ace king. So we got that info. Let's just move on to hand number 2, guys. This is the hand that you guys have been waiting for. This is where things go sour for us. So we've already started looking like pretty bad. We lost with queens first hand, and a few hands later we wake up with pocket 3s, guys. So we're in the big blind. We got about 900. It's 8-handed. E1 goes to 35. M2 calls. We decide to call, and it's 3 ways to the flop. Flop is 3-6 jack, guys. Offsuit, rainbow. This was like, you know, the dream flop that we always want. We check, and E1 decides to bet 70 bucks. M2 calls, and you also call here because, you know, it's a super dry board. The only draw out there is 4-5 pretty much in gutters. So, you know, we're doing it pretty dang good. Turn is a 9 of diamonds. So, you know, definitely opens up the door to some backdoor possibilities like flush draws, because now there's flush draw out there. And I don't really think that people are floating with a hand like 10-8, but, you know, you never know. I mean, they could potentially be trying to do that. M2 may potentially be, you know, trying to bluff this hand. And M2 is actually the same guy that raced to the 525 pre-flop in the last hand. So, you know, you got that same player, so you got a little bit of history. We know that he's kind of tight. So, you know, when a turn comes like this, sometimes we could be making a move here. We could have a hand like 4-5 ourselves, maybe turn in like a diamond draw or something like that, or potentially just having 4-5, and, you know, we might just decide to lead here on the turn. So we decide to kind of like balance it out here and lead out with our set. I don't think that any of these guys are going to be betting here unless they improve to a hand like Jack 9. I think it's going to check through on the turn, so, you know, you don't really want to give anybody else the opportunity to suck out on you, especially with a hand like, say, pocket 6s or something like that. You want to give them an extra card. Actually, pocket 6 is a set, so pocket 5s, pocket 4s or something like that. You don't want to just give them a free card that they just hit on the river and now you're oversetted. So we decide to bet 175, and E2 snap folds, and now M2 decides to flat. He thinks about it. Don't know if he wanted to shove, but he decided to flat. So, okay, it's looking pretty good for us. We're pretty much going to shove the river. I mean, we got a set. I don't think that there's anything else that we're going to do on the river. Any river, I'm just going to shove. So, Jack of spades on the river, guys. And we decide to rip it. And we flip over our hand. And I thought he had 10 Jack. Then I'm like, I got a boat. Because I thought you just had, you know, 3 of kind jacks. And he's like, I have a boat too. And I look over, and he's got the Jack 9, guys. So freaking sick. So we get runnered by a bigger full house. Pretty gross. Anyway, let's see if we can recover here. So we're down now. We're down about, you know, maybe about $1,000, something like that. Maybe just shy. So we got a little bit of recovering to do. That's for sure. So let's go on to hand number 3. We wake up with 5-9 of hearts. We're in the big blind. Got about $800, and we're 8-handed. E1 opens to 35, and it folds around to us. You know, it's suited. We got a semi-tight image, so I think that, you know, given certain flops, we could potentially take it away from what is perceived to be a pretty tight range. I haven't really seen this person get out of line with his raises or anything, so he most likely has high cards, or he's got like pairs and stuff in that position. So yeah, it's pretty easy to narrow down his range, and I feel like we could have range advantage on a variety of boards. So pretty easy to defend here, and the flop is 3-4-8. Offsuit. Okay, we do have backdoor heart draw, but, you know, we check. He bets 55 pretty fast. At this point, I just decide to call. Offsuit 6 on the turn, so now we're up and down, and we check, and now he cuts out $75 in reds, and he bets 75. So at this point, if we want to win the pot, I think we got to start bluffing. And, you know, regardless of the turn card, I think that this is a hand that favors our range more than his. So definitely is going to put him in a tough spot post flop, especially for river decisions. So we go to 205, and our plan backfires. he thinks for like 10 seconds and then he piles in like, you know, $900 in blacks and purples. So unfortunately we gotta snap fold our hand and live to fight another day. So let's just go on to hand number 4, guys. All right, so I do apologize. I'm sniffling a little bit. It is damn cold, and I'm wearing a sweater, guys. That's all I got on. I got my headband because my ears are friggin' freezing right now. If I didn't have this on, man, like, I don't know what I'd be doing. Should have brought a toque. I might have to put my hood on, but I don't really want to put my hood on because, you know, that make it look a little sketchy. So let's just go on to hand number 4. So we wake up with ace king now. We're in the cutoff. We got about 850, 8-handed, and we open to $30. Button calls, and now the small blind decides to go to 120. It folds back to us, and remember the guy that had the pocket queens, you know, the very first hand? I told you guys that, you know, we're gonna use this hand later on. So it's the same guy that 3-bet with ace king. So if he's got ace king in his range, I think that we could potentially take it down post flop. So we can easily put in a 4-bet here and feel pretty comfortable getting it in and potentially even take it down post flop. We raised to 275, and button just mucks his hand. And now our opponent thinks for a little bit, maybe like 10 seconds, and then just shoves, goes all in. And at this point, we're in too deep. We're gonna snap call, and the board runs out. Ace king 8 4 3. So happy to see that ace out there and the king. You know, I'm just kind of like looking at his face as the cards just kind of pop out, and he doesn't look too pleased. Then he shakes his head, flips over the queens, and we flip over ace king, baby. So all right, we really needed that one. So we're kind of like, you know, fighting back a little bit. We're hopefully on the road to recovery, so we'll see how it goes. Let's just go on to hand number 5, guys. It is freezing. Oh, my hand, like I gotta use my beer to freaking warm up. You guys don't even know how I feel right now. So now we got ace jack, middle position 3. We've ran our stack to about 1700 now, and M2 opens. He opens 35. We call. The button calls and folds around. So it's gonna be 3 ways to the flop. Flop is king, jack, 4. And it's king of clubs and a jack of clubs. And M2, the initial pre-flop raiser, bets 70. And he's got 400 left after his bet. So, you know, we kind of like ask him how much you got, see if we can potentially run a bluff, because we got the nut flush blocker. And we decided to call because we still got a jack. Like, our jack could still potentially be good, and see what the button does. And the button folds, so that's pretty good news. 3 on the turn, offsuit 3, and he checks. At this point, you know, I want to like pot control a little bit. Don't really want to get check raised. Don't want to just bloat the pot or anything like that. So I'm just gonna kind of like see what the river brings. So I check 9 of spades on the river, and he decides to bet $80 at this point. And you know, I'm just thinking like I pretty much have to snap call. Don't think that there's any merit to doing anything else. What else could he be doing it with? I mean, maybe a king, weak king, could have a weaker jack. You don't know. I called, and he flips over 9-7 of clubs. So funny thing is that he said, "You're good," like shaking his head. I'm like, I don't know, man. I could have had way worse than that. But yeah, I mean, sometimes a pair of 9s actually wins in that spot. So in a way, I feel like it could have been a slow roll in certain situations. So let's just go on to hand number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, guys. 6. I don't even know how to do 6 because I got my hand over here. So let's just get right into it. All right, so this is another super fun hand. It's gonna be a pretty big pot, I would say, so stay tuned. ace-2 of diamonds. We're on the button. We got about 1,700 and change, so we've been hovering about 1,700, winning a little bit, losing a little bit, and you know, 1,700 on the way to recovery. Not bad, good. E2 opens. He opens 30 bucks. M2 calls, M3 calls, and now we decide to call as well. So, you know, starting to brew the pot. We're on the button, right? This is like a pretty good spot to be in with a suited ace, especially with a hand as weak as ace-2. So yeah, definitely call. I mean, can we put in a 3-bet? Yeah, maybe if we want to turn our hand into a bluff here, but I just think it's fine to just call. And small blind call is a big blind call, especially when the small blind and the big blind don't really, you know, 3-bet liberally and squeeze a lot. Then I think it's perfectly fine to just call here on the button. Otherwise, you could just like squeeze it up yourself, which is, you know, perfectly fine as well. But anyway, we get a 9, Jack, Queen, and they're 2 diamonds. I actually read the board backwards off my screen. I don't know. It's actually Queen, Jack, 9. So it checks around to us, and at this point we could bet, but there's just so much out there, and I'm pretty sure that like one of these guys got a piece. I think it's perfectly fine to just go on to the next street, and we check. 6 of spades on the turn. Not the card we wanted. Obviously want to make a flush, and small blind checks, and now the big blind decides to go to 75 bucks. So, you know, pretty easy call, I think, when it gets back to us, especially when M3 makes the call, we make the call, and now the small blind also makes a call. So 4 ways to the river, guys, and we got the nut flush draw. Are you ready? King of diamonds, baby. So we nailed the flush on the river. Kind of sucks that the king of diamonds came out, because now I just feel like it's going to be harder for us to get paid here. You know, if a lower flush comes out, like a lower flush card came out, then it's way likely that somebody else has a flush draw. But now that the king of diamonds comes out, yeah, kind of like leaves me a little disappointed that I might not be getting paid. But anyways, it checks to us, and pot is pretty decent at this point. I don't want to like overbet it or just bet too much, because as I said, I don't really suspect that these guys have flushes. So yeah, I decide to bet 225. So I'm looking to get paid at least by a straight, and you know, folds around back to M3, and then M3 goes into a tank, and he's thinking and he's thinking and he's thinking, maybe for about 20 seconds, and then he says, you know, my hand's just too strong, man. I gotta call you. And at that point, I'm just still looking at the board, and I'm like, okay, it's looking pretty good. And he makes the call, slides over the chips. We show him the bad news, show him the flush. Then he says that he had ace queen for the biggest straight possible, but you know, sometimes a straight is not enough. So we ended up being positive for this session. We ran it up to, I think, like we got like 2.3K or something like that. So we were up just about 270 bucks. So not bad for a comeback. I mean, after losing about $1,000 in that hand, yeah, it's definitely a pretty good comeback. And we only played for a few hours. I think it was like just 3 hours or something like that, just because we were on the run, we had to go. Would have been nice to play a little earlier and show up like around noon to play until later, but you know, what can you do? Sometimes we got to do stuff in life, and we don't always have time to grind it out and play poker. So until next time, guys, thank you very, very, very much for watching this video, and I don't know, comment below, let me know if like it's too dark, if the scenery's fine. I try to get the casino in the background, so I hope that you guys maybe noticed that out there. But anyways, it's really cold, and I just got to get back. I got to go back to the hotel, because I'm freezing right now. My hand is frozen. It's been like, I don't know if you can tell, but look at my hands. It's like they got an imprint of the position that I had. So anyway, like, subscribe, as usual, guys. I thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate the feedback and the comments, and just let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to hit the Taco Bell button. I do appreciate it. Have a good night, and not so bad for a 5-10 game. Hey, I forgot to mention, 2 games, guys, 2 5-10 tables at the new Casino Niagara. So after they merge the tables, it's looking pretty good. Anyway, that's the good news for now. So I'm pretty happy camper. I'm definitely gonna be here probably next vlog as well. So.